Not now. We have the lecture for European history for Monday, the 4th of October, 2021. And we are starting with item E, Echo, key Renaissance items and events. Now, the House of Borgia are famous as poisoners. This is something you should know. The Borgias actually get a pope. Let's see if I can. Haley.
Yes.
Try to remember which pope by looking it up, because I wrote it down, but slightly different place. Pope Alexander VI was a Borgia pope, and the Borgias were, like the Medici, a powerful Italian political family, but the Borgias were cutthroat and murderous in a way that the Medicis were not quite so much, although they would certainly kill their enemies if they needed to. Yeah?
What about a quiz? How?
You don't have a quiz because you don't have a chapter survey due today.
What? Yeah.
Did you do a chapter survey?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
And you don't have a quiz.
fantastic.
Your next chapter survey is due the 18th, I think.
Yeah.
But during this time off from chapter surveys, that's fine, that's a good question. During this time off from chapter surveys, it would behoove you to get ahead on your case study.
Do you have an idea of when you want to do the geography quiz?
Sometime this week.
Fantastic.
Okay. Now, after the Borgias come the Condottieri.
The board.
Condottieri are Italian mercenaries of the Renaissance. They have a very famous statue of a Condottieri, and I'm going to ask somebody to remind me when we're doing this to show Condottieri. These skilled soldiers are what make the Renaissance wars interesting and possible. It's not simply brute force that they apply, because a mercenary, a soldier for hire, is not motivated by religious fervor or patriotism. They are professionals. They need to survive to get paid. So the battles of the Renaissance often took the form of battles of maneuver. And when the mercenaries lost, they would surrender. And under rules of war, they'd be spared in most cases. If they won, they would expect the enemy to surrender. Now, if the rules of war were violated, of course, there would be rage at that point, and there'd be a slaughter fest. But in general terms, those who waged war were brutal professionals who were in it for the money, not so much for patriotism, although many of the Catholic Church soldiers were motivated by faith, and some of the city-states soldiers were motivated by patriotism. The Condottieri were the poster boy, the face of the typical type of soldier in Renaissance Italy. So, mercenary soldier. The Medicis we've talked about. They are an Italian noble family from Florence who, during the mid to late 1400s, mid to late 15th century, ruled, were patrons of Michelangelo and other artists, and basically the archetypical Renaissance ruler in terms of somebody who loves the arts, is a patron of the arts, understands the arts and the sciences and other things, was, of course, Lorenzo il Magnifico de' Medici, Lorenzo the Magnificent of the House of Medici. And we talked about then, their family probably originated among healers, but they gained a lot of their wealth and power by being bankers, by being among the first, in Italy anyway, to take advantage of the papal decision to remove the sin of usury from the list of felony sins or mortal sins and move it to the list of misdemeanor sins or venal sins. And when you can loan money at interest, that's a big deal. Now we come to probably the most important family in early modern Europe. the House of Habsburg. Now, the Habsburgs are the rulers of Burgundy, which is what eventually becomes the remnant of Burgundy becomes Belgium, Holland, and Luxembourg. But Burgundy in the past had been much larger. You will recall that France has its borders farther west, significantly farther west at this point in time than it does today, because a lot of the Western imperial lands in the Holy Roman Empire were under the House of Burgundy. So what happens is the Burgundian house, the Habsburgs, who have a genetic odd lip and chin, which I'll show you in paintings later on, the Habsburgs become the elected Holy Roman Emperors during the last phase of the Holy Roman Empire, during the last actually several hundred years of the Holy Roman Empire. The Habsburgs are ultimately going to become, under Charles V, the most powerful family in early modern Europe, because Charles V, early 1500s, a person that you'll see portrayed as a young man in the movie Luther, Charles V is Holy Roman Emperor. He's also Archduke of Austria. He's also Duke of Burgundy. So that gives him not only power in general terms over the Holy Roman Empire, but he is he is two of the biggest landowning aristocrats within the Holy Roman Empire. But that's not all, because Charles V becomes the ruler of Spain after the descendants of Ferdinand and Isabella, don't become king and queen much longer. So now you have the House of Habsburg ruling Burgundy, Austria, the Holy Roman Empire, and Spain, which includes all of Iberia except for Portugal by this point. Granada has become Spain, Navarre has become Spain, and Catalonia or Aragon has become Spain. And that also means that the Habsburgs control southern Italy as well. So the Habsburgs end up ruling more of Europe than any other single royal family since the Caesars. And this, I will call on you, this is a big deal. So Habsburgs, next to that, you're going to want to write Charles V. That's Charles B, because that's Roman numerals. And then under that, Philip. How do you spell Philip? 2 L's or 2 P's?
2 L's.
Thank you. Hate that. Drives me crazy. Well, no, because when you're spelling the islands that were named after King Philip of Spain, the Philippines, it's 2 P's, not 2 L's. Okay. Philip II is the son of Charles V, who becomes the King of Spain at the time of Spain's dominance. Charles V's son, Philip, controls Spain, conquers Portugal, or actually joins Portugal to Spain temporarily, controls the Netherlands up here, which becomes Holland and Belgium, and he controls Central America and most of South America and the Philippines. That's all. So Philip II does not become Holy Roman Emperor. His brother does, Maximilian. But Philip does, the House of Habsburg, rule the largest empire Spain ever rules. He sends an armada to conquer England, which only by the grace of God doesn't conquer England. And he controls the better part of 1.5 continents. Not bad. And his brother controls the Holy Roman Empire. Also, not bad. So the Habsburgs are the chiefest families of Europe, of the families of Europe during this time. Emma.
I'm sorry, but do you think you could repeat Condottieri? Because I think I mixed it up with House of Borgia.
Okay, House of Borgia, poisoners. Condottieri, mercenaries. Italian mercenaries.
Okay, thank you.
And a mercenary is a soldier for hire. Okay. The Inquisition. Shades. Lights. I'm pausing this. I will be resuming.